Welcome everyone to the Infernal Brotherhood of the Scruffy-looking Nerfers. This is a live streaming video podcast by Star Wars fans for Star Wars fans, but today we're not talking Star Wars. We're talking Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. This is our spoiler-filled review.
Yeah. What were your initial thoughts of this thing?
I was fucking nervous going into it because it's like, all right, this looks like it's going to be great. It's got an A-list of fucking actors. Crystal Skull was terrible. So by comparison, it had to be pretty good. But walking out, I was pretty happy.
Right.
I really enjoyed it.
I'm stuttering like a motherfucker in my camera, and I don't know why. Huh. I don't know what's happening. Well, I hope that eases up because this is pretty rough. I look like Max Headroom.
Yeah, we'll just not look at
it. Just don't look at me. All right,
so audio's coming through great. So
just
just go like this if it's bothering you.
So for those of you who are unfamiliar with Indiana Jones, I don't even know.
Shame on you for
do something that soon. No, I actually really like this movie, and I don't know if it's because the last one didn't live up to the hype, but it gave me all of the sort of old school feels, you know.
It's, you know what, honestly, especially seeing it, like for me, I saw it on the 3rd, so it was just like it got my red-blooded American dick just rock hard seeing him beat the shit out of Nazis. It was like, yeah, America.
No, I loved it. I thought it was great. You know, like with any movie, there's like nitpicky things. I thought the way they ended it, not with the sort of like mystical aspect, but with the final Marion scene, was beautiful. I really enjoyed that part.
I liked it.
I mean, it was this wonderful sort of full circle from Return of the Jedi. From
full circle.
Raiders of the Lost Ark. And it has a lot to live up to. Raiders of the Lost Ark is a perfect action-adventure movie.
Yeah, perfect movie, period.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a brilliant, brilliant film. So I can't imagine this even being able to live up to that. One thing that I did notice, and again, this is just sort of surface stuff, was the pacing was weird. What I always loved about Indiana Jones was the pacing felt old school and natural. Older films didn't have that quick cut sort of pacing that modern audiences seem to demand.
Yeah.
And I appreciated that because it reminded me of not just older films, but films that trusted the audience to be able to follow the actual story, and a little bit of like reading an old pulp novel, which is what this is supposed to be coming from anyway.
Yeah, straight up.
So just
that was definitely my problem with it. I mean, other than the runtime, like anything over an hour and a half, I don't want to sit in the theater for it unless it's like Star Wars or something. But yeah, the pacing, and that's the thing, like it felt traditional to a point. And then when it was real quick, like minute and a half, 2-minute scenes, and then hard cut to the next one, it always took me out of it. But they also were able to reel me back in like almost immediately.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, ultimately, I think this is a wonderful way to close out because they straight up said they were teasing that they might do another series or something or carry on the mantle with another actor playing Indy, or just handing it off to another character to sort of play in the franchise. But at the end of this, they straight up said that was it. We're not doing any other Indy. The only person that can play Indy is Harrison Ford, and he can't really play it anymore.
No. He had a very hard time playing it this time.
Yeah, because that's kicked by everyone and everything. So, and anyway, so let's get into the actual film here. So the log line is archaeologist Indiana Jones races against time to retrieve a legendary artifact that can change the course of history. And one thing that I've always loved about Indiana Jones films is that it takes an element of history that actually exists or is purported to have existed, and then adds a mystical spin to it. So he sort of goes on this wild adventure, and there's like a bunch of crazy stuff happening. Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Ark and the Covenant being this magical god gun, which is what it kind of ended up being in Raiders of the Lost Ark, is silly and ridiculous, but it was entertaining, and it has a little bit of historical reference to it to sort of pull you in.
That's always been like the great aspect of this franchise has been like it's so rooted in reality that once the fantasy happens, you buy into it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, oh yeah, no, obviously that exists.
Yeah,
And I
so
feel like that's where Crystal Skull did fail.
see, and I didn't even. I'm probably one of the rare people who did not mind Crystal Skull as much as everyone else did.
Mhm.
I thought the ham-fisted acting by,
Shia LaBeouf.
well, he's always
Oh,
ham-fisted. No, the blonde girl that played the Russian, and her accent was constantly. Everything else she's done is brilliant and amazing. I can't remember her name right now, and it's driving me
yeah,
crazy
I
because
can't
she's
think of it.
goddamn gorgeous and just a beautiful actress. I mean, not just physically, but that too, but also just the way she portrays. But Shauna, if you're still watching, tap us and let us know who that female actress was, because you and I both love her desperately. But she was not very.
Wait, are you talking about Kate Blanchett?
Yeah, Kate Blanchett.
How the fuck did I not realize she was in it?
She
God,
was that
I might
Russian with the
actually have
black
to
hair, and it was like short
watch that
cropped.
shit again. Fuck. Yeah, I love Kate Blanchett.
She's amazing, but
Yeah.
not great in Crystal Skull.
Hmm.
She just, I don't know if she was mailing it in, or I don't know if the role was just not right for her.
Yeah.
But I think that was the worst part. The Crystal Skull itself, that's a new age idea that's been around forever. You know, how could anyone before us have ever done anything of quality? It must be aliens.
Yeah,
which is
always, which is
always
fucking stupid.
Looking hilarious. But, you know, that's just this new age idea, and then it sort of manifested in these extra dimensional beings. I don't mind that. I think that's fun. I think the idea that they whole set up and everything, I thought the only weird thing that threw me out of that entire film were the gophers. Other than the prairie dog.
I don't remember any of this shit. I'm gonna have to watch it again, I guess.
Dude, we
I
gotta...
just I don't know. I must have been like drunk or something when I watched it, but I was not happy.
It's not as bad as people make it out to be, at least to me anyway. All right, so that being said, every single film has had that mystical thing that happens, just like this one does in the third and final act. For those of you who have not seen this yet and don't want to be spoiled, we are talking spoilers from this point on. So GTFO and come back after you've seen it.
Yeah. He pulls his dick out. It's crazy.
It's so old. It's like bubble gum, but already chewed.
Yeah, it's like really old beef jerky.
So gross. If it's seasoned properly, it might be okay. So this was directed by James Mangold, but it went through a plethora of writers before it even got to him.
Smart.
And this is an idea that Lucas had been sort of brainstorming on since Crystal Skull, about how to deal with the concept of time travel, but in a fun and interesting way. And he just couldn't nail it down. And so they went through Jez Butterworth, John Henry Butterworth, David Koepp, and Mangold all together to sort of end up with the story that we got. And the story that we got, I really like, because that machine exists. That's a real machine, but it was to navigate the stars. It wasn't to obviously travel through time.
Presumably.
Right. Yeah. Who knows? Who knows? But the fact that it did exist, that it was a machine that was like centuries before its time, as far as quality, scale, and use, and it was found at the middle of the ocean, is pretty damn amazing. So it just sort of goes to tell you, among every other artifact ever found, that ancient human cultures were not as primitive as we like to think they are. They advanced in different ways, but they were definitely more advanced.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is, of course, the sequel to Crystal Skull and serves as the fifth and final installment of the Indiana Jones franchise. It's the only film in the series that's neither directed by Steven Spielberg nor conceived by Lucas himself, but both of them served as executive producers. It's the only film in the series that's not distributed by Paramount Pictures following the Disney acquisition. And in 2018, Jonathan Kasdan was hired to replace the writer Koepp, who returned to write in 2019 before leaving the project. So I'm glad he left.
Yeah, because fuck him.
I can't believe they attached that douchebag to this freaking picture. I would have lost my mind.
I can't believe he has a job, period.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, of course, we all understand nepotism is a real thing. But, I mean, Empire Strikes Back does not excuse the Willow series.
Not at all.
Period.
Yeah,
at all.
Brutal.
Yeah.
I had to throw that note in there because it was just...
Yeah, I didn't
dodged a bullet. We were like
yeah.
the Matrix. Just fucking, no!
Yeah, this would have been just nonsense. I feel like there would have been like mass suicides probably. It would have been that bad.
Yeah, riots in the street, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria, all of it.
Absolutely.
And of course, John Williams reprised his role as composer and conductor of the score, and perfect.
Okay, I'm just gonna say something right now.
Oh no.
I love John Williams.
Okay.
But I swear to God, if he doesn't make new music for each fucking film, or like next film that he does, if it's the same shit that I've heard for the past, well, my entire life, you're just phoning it in, bud. You need to stop.
Oh no,
Dude, that's the one thing that I hated about this score. Like, it's beautiful, it's amazing, it's epic, and then I'm like, oh wait, this is Jurassic Park. Oh wait, no, this one's Star Wars. Why am I thinking this during a fucking movie? Like, it's not like we're watching like fucking Reanimator with some ripped off music. This is a blockbuster with money and visionaries and artists. Like, it changed it up a little bit.
People would have like rioted in the streets if they didn't have the good old fashioned indie music, though.
Okay, the indie music's different though. That's understandable. That is on par with the brand. But when I'm getting Star Wars and Jurassic Park as well in this, that's just too much for me.
Yeah. Yeah, we get that with, I think, every major composer. They end up treading old ground because it's just kind of like their style of music making.
Yeah,
it's like
a shame.
Anytime you get, God damn it, Danny Elfman, you know you're going to get Danny Elfman, and it's going to sound like Danny Elfman. You're going to get a little bit of every show he's ever made a score for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is rough. They do need to sort of step outside of the comfort zones a little bit more, and then just keep the main themes for the big action set pieces, you know?
Yeah.
So this was a budget of up to $300 million. The most expensive Indiana Jones film in the franchise. And
it's because they actually went back in time.
It's true. It costs a lot. The energy required alone. It's 1.1 gigawatts or whatever.
That is factual, Adam.
It's just amazing to me that they spent that much money, and it had to be on the deepfake stuff.
100%, because none of those locations had to be that fucking expensive.
Nah.
At all.
I don't even know why the deepfake had to be that expensive, because it wasn't that great.
No, and that's okay. Nitpick number 2 is the deepfake. Up close, when he's just talking, all right, I can buy it. Especially for Hannibal. I always forget his real name.
Right.
His deepfake?
Mickelson. Or...
Yeah. Whatever. Something really
Mads
foreign. His deepfake looked great. But he's also got a very non-emotive face to begin with. It's all in his eyes, and they got that right. So, young Indy, up close, okay. Young Indy, when he's walking around, that was like, God, that's terrible. That looks... Somebody should get fired for that.
It's weird because when I was watching it, I wasn't thinking of the CGI. And then in the middle of watching that intro, I kicked back to all the reviews I heard, and they're like, the CGI is so bad. And so I started really paying attention. And I don't know if I would call it really bad, but it was obvious. No, and of course it's obvious because we know how old Harrison Ford is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like we've accepted worse.
Of course, we've accepted way worse. Like, I mean, fuck, look at Leia in Rogue One.
Yeah.
I won't say Tarkin. Tarkin was...
I don't know if we accepted Leia.
For,
we just took the hit on the chin.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like, with that kind of money, and like, when you essentially have more money and time than God, you should spend that time and that money to make it right. Yeah. And again, it's a nitpick. It didn't take me out of the movie at all. It just made me go, that was a decision.
Well, it's weird because Mark Hamill in Book of Boba Fett as Luke Skywalker was great. Like, it was the best deepfake I think they've done to date.
Yeah, because it was the dude that got internet famous by doing deepfake.
So why don't they just get him to teach other people how he does it, and then just
have him on fucking payroll, for fuck's sake?
I think he quit. Like, he did work there for a little bit, but...
I mean, I would too, probably. You know, you see Mickey Mouse goose stepping down the hall. You kind of just go, "Ooh, I should probably leave."
This is getting dark. I didn't know it was that dark.
Still making those films behind closed doors, I see. Okay.
Oh man, it was, I don't know. So that aside, the intro itself of setting it back in time,
Dude.
that's just kind of what they always do in all of them.
And it was fucking, it reminded me so much of Raiders, like the feel of Raiders. Like it was just perfection.
Yeah, I really, really enjoyed that. The action cuts were too quick.
Mm-hmm.
The action set pieces were always too quick.
Mm-hmm.
But I can accept that as long as I'm enjoying it, as long as it's exciting and it's got the adrenaline. And I felt, you know, I didn't know, no one knew who his sort of co-star character was, because he's just sort of a foil to Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character. But it didn't really matter, because every one of his sidekicks is kind of like that.
Yeah.
No matter who it is.
Yeah, straight up.
Sort of bumbling old white dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what we all are like. Once we get to a certain age, we're just bumbling old dumbasses.
Yeah.
Especially in the face of fucking Harrison Ford, who's just always perfect. He's not like Tom Cruise perfect, but he's right next to him.
Yeah, he oozes charisma. So like he can just be a grumpy old man and you're still like, I would follow that motherfucker to hell and back.
For real. So that was super exciting. And that also set up the MacGuffin, which is that Anchitherian device or whatever it's called. I thought the name is just ridiculous, but I think it is like the historical name for it. So what are you going to do? And then we fast forward to 1960s sort of race riot era. And
just landed on the fucking moon.
Yeah. And we get like the most stereotypical Black Panther black woman ever.
Yeah,
She was like the sassy talking.
I feel like if she would have said something about like jive turkeys or whatever, I feel like we would have all had to walk out just out of principle. Because like here's the thing, I'm all for blaxploitation. I fucking love blaxploitation. Like Blackenstein, one of my favorite like just shitty movies. Period.
Right.
But that doesn't fit with this.
No, it took me a little bit out. I can't imagine the CIA hiring a young, beautiful black woman.
Yeah, especially in the 60s.
That makes no sense. They were
literally
overtly racist organizations shutting down Black Panthers, trying to kill fucking racial protesters. I mean, why would they hire a fucking black woman?
That doesn't make any sense.
So that was weird, and I just felt like it was a little too modern sensibility in a historical context. I was just like, that takes me out a little bit. If she would have said jive turkey, I would have been in. Or called fucking Indy a cracker. Hell's yes. I'd be okay with it. It'd be beautiful. But so that took me out. But then Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character, I've got to get her real name because this is gonna drive me nuts. Helena Shaw. She did like a whole 180. So she first comes into the scene, like trying to, mend fences with Indy, but she's just doing it so she can get a hold of the Anchitherian and then sell it. Because I guess she's got like massive gambling debts and she's just sort of that type of a girl. She's like a Han Solo character.
Yeah.
Just a scoundrel. But then she immediately, as soon as she tries to sell it and Indy comes into that boardroom, she just switches to, hey, let's be on the same team and I like you again.
Yeah.
Like, let's forget about I just left you to be killed by these Nazis.
Right. Yeah. I just accidentally framed you and stole your shit. But no, I still love you. You're my godfather, Uncle Indy.
So that took me way out of it. I was just like, wait a second. I need consistency in a character. Like, if you're going to change, show the change.
See, I believed it. Like, it's self-interest. Like, she is always looking out for number one. So, I mean, that's clearly in her best interest. Like, she knows that motherfucker can get out of some sticky situations. Yeah. Obviously, he's there in Marrakesh to steal shit from her. So, yeah, no, I believe that.
So, what did you think of her sidekick, the not short round?
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of not short round. I felt like it was a very forced not short round.
Yeah.
They should have just had short round reprise his role.
The thing is it showed the actor in like previews for the show, like talking about how only Harris can play Indy and how great this film is going to be, but he wasn't even in it. So what the fuck was he doing pimping the show for?
Who the fuck
Like,
knows?
it got me excited because I was like, short round's back. Fuck yeah. And it was like, you can't do short round in today's climate. I was
Bullshit.
like, oh, but you can do sassy black woman?
Yeah, no, fuck that. Short round is a hero to many, so fuck you if you don't like him.
But there is no time for love, Dr. Jones. Like, what's not to love?
Some of the best fucking lines
I
in that
know.
movie
He's
come out
so
of his
good.
mouth.
He's so great. Was there too much retreading of old ground in this? Because they had the bug scene.
Yeah, of course. But I mean, now you go into the final installment of a movie, you just know that they're going to hit all the same beats from all the other movies.
Yeah.
So it didn't bother me that much. And the ill scene, you know, like, they're just snakes underwater. Like, that was fucking funny. I was laughing a lot more than anybody else in the audience, and I felt like an idiot for it, but that was okay.
I enjoyed the eel thing. I actually liked the frenzy of the eel scene.
Yeah, no,
I
it
was
legit
scared
terrifying.
It looked super goddamn terrifying. I was just like, Indy's gonna fucking die.
Mm-hmm.
Shit. That was wild. So as far as the character and pacing, was there anything before we get to that final third act that stuck out to you as like not really working, or like how do you feel about Saul? Is his name Saul? The
Egyptian dude?
Yeah, Salah.
Yeah,
John
I
Rhys
mean,
Davies.
it wouldn't have made sense and it probably wouldn't have worked, but I was a little upset when he dropped him off at the airport and was like, I've got my fucking passport and my dick is so hard. Let's fucking do this shit. Bag. And he's like, nah, you stay here. I'm just going to visit somebody. He's like, oh, fucking come on, man. Let's do this. Like, I wanted to see him get on the plane and then like fist fight everybody through Egypt or Morocco. But no, like other than like really the biggest problem I had with any of the pacing was just literally the time and the pacing. It was so of this YouTube generation of editing. But no, I bought every second of it.
It's rough because I am a fan of Mangold. His Wolverine Origins film, where it was going back to Japan, was great. I thought Logan was a goddamn
samurai movie.
Yeah.
And then you get one of the greatest Western movies ever, and it's a fucking X-Men movie. Yeah, no, fantastic.
So I think he's great. And his pacing in those, I didn't feel like was as excited as this one was. And I don't know if he was doing it because he's directed to do it, or he was trying to keep I don't know, he was trying to create a sort of an excitement pace, a sort of adrenaline pace or something. But it was more Mission Impossible than it was Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I can absolutely see that now.
It was just a little strange.
For me, honestly, I think it's a little bit of, you know, the powers that be tinkering with stuff. Yeah. Because I mean, of course, it's very rare the director actually gets final pass, and that's what everybody sees. Mm-hmm. That's why there's a lot of movies out there that get a second release for the director's cut. Yeah. So that's nothing new. That's just the business. But no, I can definitely see it being Mission Impossible now.
So let's talk about that final act, because that was the fantastical moment. That was the sort of inciting incident of Mads Mikkelsen's Nazi character finally getting both pieces and the decoder to find out where the sort of time-space rift is going to appear. They fly through it. They go back in time, but because of continental drift, they go back to a different time than they were planning on, and they literally go back to the very, like, siege where... oh shit! Now I don't even remember the name of the damn Antioch. No,
it wasn't Antioch. It was the Siege of Troy, I thought.
But anyway, like where
anyways,
it was
Artemis.
Yeah,
Artemis is there, or no? That's not. God damn it! I just watched this. Hold on, I'm looking this up. You say things.
I'll say words. Yeah. So he goes back to meet him, and we get to see this brilliant battle, which I thought was really, really cool, and the battle looked historically accurate as far as we could possibly know.
Oh my god, it was great.
Yeah.
Like, I was so nervous. Like, I thought the whole time it was just gonna be like they were gonna get right to the rift and it was gonna close, because it was narrowing and shit, and it was like, oh, we got to do it now. And then when they actually get through and you see those the Roman the vessels and shit, and just like all the shit flying, it's like, oh my god, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah, I thought that was great. There's two things about this third act that struck me as out of character. or just out of world. First was a lot of people are complaining that Indiana Jones got shot and he was sort of incapacitated for the full third act. That's not uncommon with what happens in Indy. Like he is in the whole Raiders, he was tied up in the whole fucking third act. Like he was completely incapacitated. So him being out of it for the final third act didn't bother me as much. What did bother me was he didn't bleed out. He should be dead.
He should have. And the fact, like, there was a lot of blood.
Yeah.
But he just kept going. And I mean, I can understand to an extent, like, adrenaline's going to get you through. And I mean, even just like his performance of, I have literally spent my entire life trying to essentially recreate this in teaching. And I'm here in it. And just like, he looks like he's going to fucking cry. Like, I can see that getting him through, but yeah, he should have been dead.
And then there's like the realistic
Archimedes. There we go. It's fucking Archimedes.
Yeah. So like the realistic side of it is people get shot all the time and don't die. That's not an uncommon thing. We think it's common because we see it on TV and we see it on YouTube clips and stuff, but people can survive gunshots and they do a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's either it's just happens to be that really detrimental place where the bullet stays in you and doesn't pass through, or you can't stop the flow of blood, or you just don't get the help you need in time. And so you just bleed out internally or externally. And so people do die, but it's actually less often than you think. Like people, like the whole standout, the Western standoff, dueling guns, you know, like with a fucking a 6-shooter, you can survive a 22. That's not a big deal.
And most times they won't even pull the fucking thing out. They'll just be like, bah, you're fine.
Right.
Here's some antibiotics. Go home and sleep it off.
Just bounced off your bone. You'll be fine. Just
your
body will absorb it or just build calcium deposits around it.
Pretty much.
It'll be fine. So I could excuse that.
It was the siege of Syracuse, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
I'm completely off.
Yeah. But it was Archimedes, all right?
Yes. Yeah. Archimedes. Yeah.
So that part was brilliant. And then the second thing that kind of bothered me about the third act was how willing he was just to abandon everything and stay there.
He's dying. I get it, man. I would too. Like, are you fucking kidding me? How fucking cool would that be? Like your last moments. Because in his head, he's dead. He's fucking dying. He's already losing out. Yeah. He's dropped a couple of times. He's not fucking going back home. He's not going to make it getting in a plane, going through the rift, if they make it in time, and then going back home to his empty apartment. Yeah. I'd fucking die on that beach too. Shit.
All right, you make a compelling point. That's a good point. I'm just thinking from a position of, he's always sort of been that wishy-washy guy about it, like with Temple of Doom and the cup. He was like reaching down and Connor is like, no, Indy, it's not worth it. And he's like, oh, I gotta, and then he chooses to come back. You know, like he was really ready to give it all up, and then he came back from it. In this particular case, he didn't come back. He was knocked the fuck out. And that's why he came back. So maybe it was because it was like he knew he was dead anyway. And so it wasn't as much of a big deal for him just to die here versus dying in a plane back to home. Okay, I can buy that for $1. All right. And then we had that beautiful moment at the very end with Marion, of course. So what was your favorite part of this film?
Oh, man. I mean, to list every single favorite part would be difficult. I'll just say every time a Nazi got shot or killed.
That's true. That's
it always just makes my heart so happy. I mean, other than that, because that's always funny when Nazis die. As soon as they get through that rift and the plane starts coming down and they realize what they're coming to, just the awe in that moment was fantastic. And then also right before that, when Indiana Jones is sitting there fucking bleeding out, laughing his ass off. He's like, you got the math wrong, you stupid Nazi fucker. We're going somewhere else, you dumb asshole. It's like, oh, that's fantastic. It just, he's like shitting, but no, fuck it. We're going. We have to go. This is my entire life. Yeah. That was pretty fucking good.
I loved how stupid the Nazis were in this. I mean, arguably they're always stupid. That's why
They're
fucking
stupid.
lost and did the way they did. But
Yeah.
they just had fucking mass and will, which is why they lasted as long as they did.
And meth.
Yeah, and meth.
You get people pretty far on meth.
That's true. Yeah. The more you know, people. Meth. It's not just for the toothless. It's also for the Nazis. Yeah, I think my favorite part was I didn't actually think about this before I asked the question. So, I mean that intro where we saw a younger Indiana Jones going on his younger adventures, facing off against Nazis, huge train. I love train set pieces. I don't know why.
Same.
They're just a lot of fun. I loved it in Solo because that was a callback to earlier days. And this was just very much like Indy, whether it's him on Deuce and a Halfs chasing Nazis or him running over to Jeeps chasing Nazis or on motorcycles chasing Nazis.
We got
Nazis.
all of that. We got the motorcycles and everything.
So I just love seeing him do his thing. That's just a lot of good times. Did you have a least favorite part of this?
Not really. I mean, again, I'll bitch about the pacing, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
I'll bitch about the deep fake, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Like I really just like, I was so nervous going into this thinking I'm just gonna like, I'll enjoy it because it's gonna be a popcorn type of movie. But I was so nervous that it was just gonna be just like popcorn where it's all filler, no nutritional value.
Yeah.
And I fucking walked out of it just with a smile on my face like, God, I almost pissed myself over this movie because, like, literally, I almost pissed myself because it's so fucking long. But God damn it, that was just a feel-good movie. What's that?
Did it feel long to you?
Yeah, but an hour in, I had to pee, so that's probably why. I think watching it when it comes out on Disney Plus at home when I can pause it to go take a piss, I'm gonna enjoy it a lot more.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember during that initial set piece, I was like, I wonder how long this is going to last because they have like a whole other movie to deal with because this is just the setup and it lasts a really long time. And that's the only time I thought about time. The rest of it, I was just like in it and I was enjoying the whole time. So I didn't even have to pee. So I was like
that's probably why.
3 hour mark at the very end. I was just like, it's over. That was beautiful. All right. I had a good time. That was a good movie. I just enjoyed it the whole time. If you had to give it, I don't know, banana. Do we do ratings on this show?
We can.
Let's do banana sticker ratings.
Fucking 4 out of 4. Period. Like this is. I hate to say it, but I feel like this is gonna be the last of the summer blockbusters, like traditional summer blockbusters.
Yeah.
Because really, all the heroes are fucking old and leaving. And I mean, what do we have now? But like, still Tom Cruise with fucking Mission Impossibles? No thanks.
Yeah, him and
like.
Who's the guy that is John Wick?
Oh, Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, him and Keanu Reeves are the only two we got left right now.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, man, it's 4 out of 4. This was a great movie. It's not the best in the series, but it's by far not the worst.
I totally agree. This is... do you want to do really quick rankings of the indie films? Like where would you put this in the other ones?
So I would put it in the 4 spot. So I'm looking at the notes. It's saying 5. There's 5 films. What are the other films? Because we got.
Did I put down the wrong note? So we got.
We've got.
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Raiders.
Temple of Doom. The Holy Grail one. Last Crusade.
Crystal Skull. Okay. Yeah. No shit. I can't fucking count. Holy shit. It's Crystal Skull, man. I always try to block out Crystal Skull, but I got to give it a second viewing. I mean, honestly, I would keep them all in order except for Crystal Skull. I would swap those two around. Yeah. But really with Ark of the Covenant or Last Crusade, and Temple of Doom, it kind of depends on my mood when I'm watching it. Yeah. Because, frankly, Temple of Doom, that came out when I was a child. That was like my first introduction to Indiana Jones. Yeah. So I've got a soft spot for it.
It's good.
But
I really like it.
The funny thing is, there's a podcast I listen to, and they always get on the argument that if Crystal Skull and Temple of Doom came out at different times, like if they were swapped, everybody would be jerking off about Crystal Skull and hating on Temple of Doom. And it's like, I don't see it because, I mean, yes, he's a very different person than in Raiders and Last Crusade, like very different person. But
Wait.
it's also before that shit.
Who's a different person?
Indiana Jones. Like he's
In
a little
Temple
different.
of Doom?
Yeah.
How is he different?
Just like how he's more Tomb Raider than an archaeologist. Kind of doesn't give a shit about anything, but it's like I don't really see that.
What?
Yeah, it's a they've gone off on it a couple of times in their show, and it's like I respect you guys, but you're fucking idiots.
All right, I don't agree with
But
that at all.
yeah. So I would definitely put it at a 4 spot, not because it's bad, but because the others are that much better than it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I would swap Crystal Skull and this one because this one's just frankly a better film. But I enjoy all of the indie shows. I even like the Young Indiana Jones.
I've never watched them, to be honest.
They're not great, but they're not bad at all. It's it's indie. It's young indie. It's great. So, I mean, it's better than Briscoe County Jr. and I love those because I'm a.
Well, you have to like Briscoe County Jr. I mean, fuck
Bruce Campbell.
Hey, exactly.
So, yeah, that's my ranking as well. I love it so much. I'm glad this came out. I'm glad they did it. It has the good feels to it. It is a little bit different pacing, but we're in a different time. This is. I was just a wee lad when Raiders came out, and now I'm an old lad when this one came out. So a lot of time has happened in between. Sensibilities change, filmmaking changes, so I can accept that. I can't accept the amount of money, and I can't accept how badly this is doing in the box office. Like, why do you think it's doing so poorly?
Honestly, man, COVID and streaming. Like,
oh, really?
COVID changed how people watch movies. And I really think it's just because people don't want to go to theaters. Which actually blows my mind because this was the first movie I've been to since pre-pandemic that has had a sold out show.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't just like a traditional 50 seat theater that I usually go to where it's a small screen. Like I went to a fucking IMAX. Yeah, so it is a big, massive theater. And there was maybe like 3 seats not taken.
Wow.
It was insane. And this was on a Monday?
Yeah.
Like a Monday morning, and it was packed.
Wow.
So I don't know. I feel like box office numbers, they don't count like they used to. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't really matter. And even looking at the scores like that it got on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, like it's fucking stupid. Like 69%, but with an 88 audience score, it's like the 88's stupid. I feel like the 12% that didn't like it, they've never seen the Indiana Jones movie before, or they had a hard on for Shia LaBeouf. And
I don't think anyone has a hard on for Shia LaBeouf.
There's people out there, man. I guess, but yeah, like I don't understand how it's so low because this is a good fucking movie. Even if this isn't like your kind of shit, like this is a good fucking movie.
Yeah, it's classic Indiana Jones, and that's really what I appreciated about it.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, is there anything else you wanted to cover with this thing?
No, man, we definitely got it.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in, both live and chat or after the fact. We invite you to subscribe to this channel and click the bell to get notified about our next video. And of course, you can always pick up apparel from our site. There's a link in the description. It's got a bunch of different Infernal Brotherhood of Scruffy looking Nerf herder designs. Stuff. Lots of good stuff. Lots of fun. Check it out. And if something strikes your fancy, buy it and give us a little taste of it. We get a little on the back end. It's actually cents that we get on the back end. And
but
I haven't actually seen any of it yet. So check it out. Do us a favor. Anyway, until the Infernal Brotherhood convenes again, my fellow scruffy-looking nerf herders, may the Force be with you.
Live long and prosper. We didn't talk about the holy hand grenade.
Oh my gosh! I even mentioned the name of it.
I totally didn't see
Seeing that was hilarious.
Dude, I was looking for the Star Wars shit. It was like, okay, where's the Star Wars reference in